President Eisenhower began his second term as leader not only of America but all free peoples. His inauguration address was a peace plea.
May the turbulence of our age yield to the true time of peace, when men and nations shall share a life that honors the dignity of each. The brotherhood.
A hope devoutly echoed by all. But in England, another leader vanished from the scene. Anthony Eden, following the Suez invasion debacle, was replaced as Prime Minister by Harold Macmillan, into whose hands were placed Britain's financial problems and shrinking colonial empire. Overseas in Germany, the Republic, by an overwhelming vote of confidence, returned 81-year-old Chancellor Adenauer and his government to office. A new nation was born in Africa, with Vice President and Mrs. Nixon attending. Amid jubilant scenes, the former British colony of the Gold Coast became the Republic of Ghana, with Patriot Nkrumah as its first president. The move toward self-rule in Africa had been established. It was royalty year when Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were welcomed at the White House by the First Lady at the beginning of a memorable visit to the nation. At the Queen's request, a trip across famous New York Harbor was the prelude to her visit to the big city, where an especially gaudy ticker tape parade awaited her. Blasé New York really rolled out the carpet for the young monarch, and with youthful delight, she enjoyed every minute of it. In fabled Monaco, crowds celebrated a royal event of their own, a blessed event, the christening of Princess Caroline, first child of Prince Rainier and former movie star Grace Kelly. And now, with another royal arrival expected in March, they root for a boy. A 15-year reign of terror ended in New York when George Metesky was captured and admitted bombing 21 public places with a deranged motif, revenge. Also ended was the spy career of Colonel Abel, arrested after 9 years as master Russian agent. Operating a stone's throw from the federal building, he met his fate there in the form of a long prison term. Britain's elder statesman, Sir Winston Churchill, is once again in the news as Japan's special envoy asks his support in Japan's plea for the cancellation of proposed hydrogen bomb tests. Dr. Matsushita poses with Sir Winston and Japanese Ambassador Nishi after a talk in which Churchill stressed his full agreement with British policy, which is to minimize all conventional arms in favor of full nuclear weapons development. Ireland's unofficial ambassador, Robert Briscoe, Jewish Lord Mayor of Dublin, and Mrs. Briscoe are Ike's guests for an informal half hour. Mayor Briscoe thanks Ike for the reception he's received in America and receives a gift of fine Irish cut glass. Green, of course. The liner America entering New York Harbor bears a happy couple. Harold Conley, Olympic champion hammer thrower, and his bride, the Czech women's discus thrower, the former Olga Fikitova. It was only after weeks of pleading with Czech Red authorities that Harold was permitted to bring his bride to the United States. They've only 35 cents between them, but in the land of freedom, the future looks limitless and rosy.
The glamour and excitement of New York society is enhanced by a fabulous lady from India. The Begum Aga Khan arrives at the Waldorf Astoria to preside over the festive imperial ball, a swank charity benefit for the hospitalized veterans of the Musicians Emergency Fund. Wearing $1 million worth of diamonds, the guest of honor reigns over a glittering court that is one of the big events of the big town's winter social swirl. Big gainers will be our boys in hospitals, for whom the therapy of music is a wonderful gift on the road back to healthy lives. A spanking new 57 limousine is the grand prize of the affair, and the winning ticket is picked by the guest of honor. The lucky winner will ride in style. Meanwhile, dancing is stylish at the Imperial Ball, and most stylish of all is the Begum Aga Khan, here dancing with the dashing Prince Obolensky.
Hello, I'm Marlon Brando. Throughout our history, men have been drawn to our causes by a common love of freedom. They've fought beside us and given us aid and comfort and the assurance that we were not alone. Now, these men came from all over the world. They came from Germany, France, Poland, and Hungary. And their names will always be remembered with affection and gratitude. At this time, the Hungarian people are fighting for that same sweet freedom. And we cannot send men to fight beside them, but we can send comfort and aid in the form of money and supplies. So give to the International Rescue Committee. Give more than you can afford, to the end that the Hungarian people may be reassured that they also are not alone. Your gift will be a payment on our debt. Send your contribution to Help Hungary, Box 2, Times Square Station, New York, New York.
It's the biggest night of the year in Hollywood as Oscar steps into the spotlight for the 29th time. And at the Pantages Theater, just about everybody who's anybody in the film world is on hand for the annual Academy Awards presentation ceremony. Among them, Robert Stack, nominated as Best Supporting Actor for his role in Written on the Wind. A special ovation greets Janet Gaynor, who in 1929 was the first to receive the award as Best Actress. Anthony Quinn this year won his second Oscar for his role in Lust for Life. Popular youngster Tim Hovey was among the onlookers, as was starlet Vicki Dugan, who earlier made an impression with her part in The Great Man, and made quite an impression tonight. The theater is jammed with a dazzling array of personalities as the Oscars, Hollywood's highest honor, are presented. Jack Lemmon presents the award to Best Supporting Actress Dorothy Malone for her appearance in UI's Written on the Wind, which was nominated in 3 categories. Yul Brynner receives the accolade of Best Actor of the Year from Anna Magnani for The King and I. Ernest Borgnine bestows the award for the Best Actress of the Year, won by Ingrid Bergman, accepted on her behalf by Cary Grant. For the Best Picture, Around the World in 80 Days, producer Mike Todd receives his Oscar from Janet Gaynor. Another thrilling Academy Award evening in which Hollywood honors its own. At the Korean Embassy in Washington, a distinguished roster of guests from the Diplomatic Corps and Capital Society attends a reception honoring Mr. and Mrs. Rock Hudson. The popular film star is being honored for his portrayal of Colonel Dean Hess in UI's widely acclaimed new production, Battle Hymn, the film story of the preacher-turned-fighter pilot who fought in 2 wars, organized the Korean Air Force, and who saved thousands of war orphans from abandonment and from Red capture. An unusual tribute in the nation's capital for an outstanding film achievement.
It may be cold where you are, but it's balmy in Bermuda, where the first of 1957 beach styles are revealed. There's a French flavor to the fashions from the collection of the French designer de Givenchy. The pants are separate from the tubular sheath. That's one distinctive feature of the new swimsuits, giving the wearer plenty of latitude to cover the longitude. Some stylish novelties decorate the Bermuda background. The long-legged suit looks like a throwback to old times, but the modern mosaic print makes it new and exciting, and the pants' legs can be pushed up to normal length. Exotic fabrics plus a French flair in styling combine for a welcome hello to summer.
Anything can happen in the spring. It's a season when the ladies buy hats and baseball players go out and play double headers. Now you can have both. A double header hat is like saying, batter up, so to speak, for a collection of crazy hats for crazy cats. The silly season for bonnets is really topped by this show in Vancouver, British Columbia. The biggest hat in the world, for instance. Must be rugged to wear it, but the gals from the Chinese Y in Vancouver get a kick out of the corny concoctions. Some of the barnyard bonnets create quite a flap in millinery circles. A Mad Hatter must have dreamed up this millinery merry-go-round madcap for an Alice in Wonderland. She's in the social whirl. Chicken with cigarette wraps it up. Very chic. Cute chick, too. The Lido in Paris is aflame with celebrities on the Champs-Élysées for the opening of a new and zesty show. Everybody who is anybody is there. The Duke of Windsor heads the notables, which include Michelle Morgan and the famous mustache of Salvador Dali and veteran Maurice Chevalier. The show itself scores an instant hit for the festive season, as well as the dancing which follows. author Francois Sagan sets the pace for an occasion that is truly Parisian, truly festive, and in every sense, a success. The Great Man, new Universal film, draws top personalities of the press and show business. Adria Coe and UI President Milton Rackmill. Opera star Robert Merrill and Mrs. Merrill. Sammy Davis Jr., one of the many Broadway notables on hand, including Billy Goldberg, Stubby Kaye, and Robert Alda. Model Vicki Dugan helps out in a gag shot with Al Morgan, author of the best-selling novel of show business, on which the movie starring Jose Ferrer was based. An early contender for 1957 Screen Honors. Marietta, Ohio stages the greatest civic celebration in its history to welcome Colonel Dean Hess and to celebrate the world premiere of his dramatic film biography, UI's Battle Hymn. Guests of honor include Dan Duryea and Rock Hudson, who portrays Colonel Hess, the parson who became an ace airman and who saved thousands of Korean orphans from capture by the Rebs. Marietta College, celebrating Founders Day, confers an honorary degree on Rock Hudson, and the entire city joins in acclaiming everyone connected with the premiere. 2 days of all-out festivities with never a letdown. The Air Force joins in, just as it cooperated in filming Battle Hymn. The biggest crowd ever gathers outside the Colony Theater to cheer the premiere of one of the truly great human documents ever to emerge from any war. In New York, a collection of Oriental originals is unveiled by Max Hess, who pioneered the importing of high styles from Japan. This sportswear outfit is patterned after suits of armor worn by samurai warriors. Here is a new look from a new fashion capital, Tokyo, fresh and original styling in silks and brocades with the fine artistry of Oriental tailoring. The lining of this coat accents the reverse striping of the sheath dress worn beneath. The hakama, traditional short pants for men, sets the style for this sportswear ensemble for women with hooded blouse of red silk. American fashion experts are intrigued too by an evening gown inspired by Japanese folklore. Silver disc medallions form an eye-catching motif. A wedding gown is enhanced by a shoulder stole inspired by a Buddhist temple surplice. Dame Fashion looks east. In his State of the Union message, President Eisenhower warns that defense of the free world depends on America.
The existence of a strongly armed imperialistic dictatorship poses a continuing threat to the free world's, and thus to our own nation's, security and peace. There are certain truths to be remembered here. First, America, alone and isolated, cannot assure even its own security. We must be joined by the capability and resolution of nations that have proved themselves dependable defenders of freedom. Isolation from them invites war. Our security is also enhanced by the immeasurable interest that joins us with all peoples who believe that peace with justice must be preserved, that wars of aggression are crimes against humanity. Another truth is that our survival in today's world requires modern, adequate, dependable military strength. Our nation has made great strides in assuring a modern defense, so armed in new weapons, so deployed, so equipped, that today our security force is the most powerful in our peacetime history. It can punish heavily any enemy who undertakes to attack us. It is a major deterrent to war.
Worried world attention focuses on the royal palace at Amman, Jordan, where King Hussein, confronted by a succession of cabinets, struggles to keep his nation intact. With pro-Western Prime Minister Khalidi forced out by red pressure, Hussein seeks a political solution. Failing, he falls back on loyal members of the Arab Legion and declares martial law. Even as Jordan is rent by red and Egyptian-inspired riots, the 22-year-old monarch receives loyal Bedouin sheikhs who pledge their allegiance to his policy. He blames a former premier with seeking Western aid while aligning himself with the Reds. With the first test of the Eisenhower Middle East Doctrine, the president proclaims Jordan's independence to be vital. Implementing the doctrine, heavy elements of the Sixth Fleet are ordered to sea under sealed orders in a show of force.
Politics have always had their smoke-filled rooms, but this is the French version, and Pierre Mendès France gets a warm reception as he presides over a rally of the radical socialists. One speech precipitates a barrage of tear bombs, which starts a series of fires in the Palais des Sports. In minutes, the place is an uproar as 5,000 milling people join the sport. French politics, ooh la la.
In a special address to the Middle East on the Voice of America's 15th anniversary, the President restates his proposed policy for that area.
I believe that the well-being of the peoples of the Middle East requires the nations of that region to build up and strengthen their economies and their institutions. Now we must face the fact that while we are trying to help build a world of freedom and justice among sovereign people, the masters of international communism are working constantly to tear down that kind of world. Communism, according to all its own leaders, must be a system of international control and conformity. Thus, at its very heart, it is the complete opposite and enemy of any kind of nationalism. Its avowed program is to destroy totally the religions, governments, institutions, and traditions of the Christian world, the Buddhist world, the Islamic world, the Judaic world, and the world of every religion and culture. The communist rulers then propose to substitute a whole new system of thought and control, dictated from Communist Party headquarters. They think that a few theorists and rulers know what is best for everyone, and they are determined to drive everyone toward that kind of world.
President Eisenhower, vacationing at the Georgia plantation of Secretary of the Treasury Humphreys, hears of the deteriorating Middle East situation from Secretary of State Dulles and other top advisors. The gravity of the Israeli-Egyptian impasse causes him to cut short his winter holiday and return to Washington. At the heart of the problem still lies the Suez Canal. Here, a small Italian tanker attempts to run the gauntlet of still unremoved obstacles, but is turned back on the pretext of a sunken vessel loaded with explosives, a part of the war of nerves over the canal, which is within days of complete clearance. Finally, as arguments rage in the United Nations, a small Egyptian ship threads its way through the entire length of the canal. But the impasse remains. In the shadow of the Eiffel Tower and Sputnik, President Eisenhower, French Prime Minister Gaillard, and other NATO leaders gathered in Paris to consider the peril. Their decision? That 3 European nations would be armed with intermediate-range missiles. The magic of President Eisenhower was a rallying force to an undecided conference, and to give added impetus to its purpose, word was received of the successful launching of the Atlas intercontinental missile, an answer in part at least to Russia's space supremacy. In the rocket's fiery wake was America's sober realization that the battle had just been joined and that the work of self-preservation was at hand, the dawn of the space age. Althea Gibson of New York became the first of her race to win the title at Wimbledon, England, and she won the U.S. Nationals, too. Sportsmen everywhere applauded Althea's triumph and shared in her moment of glory when Queen Elizabeth herself presented the symbol of victory to the girl from Harlem, who became the toast of the tennis world in 1957. In Paris, the world's bantamweight champion Alphonse Halimi of France made short work of Chick Brogan of Scotland. Brogan took a 9 count in round 2 and tried to go on. But Halimi was out for a quick finish, and Brogan didn't last long. This time, it was all over. Baseball added its share of drama and excitement, plus a red-hot batting race between the switcher, Mickey Mantle of the Yankees, and the slugger, Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox. Ted won with a phenomenal batting average, and home runs helped. The slugger had another great year. The World Series between the Yankees and the Braves was the story of Lou Burdett, who pitched 3 victories. His third wrapped it up for the Braves and made Milwaukee not only famous, but delirious. The man of the hour was Lou Burdett, and the Braves were the new world's champions of baseball. Hail the champs! Oklahoma again ruled the college football scene, but the Sooners didn't go undefeated. In the year's outstanding gridiron upset, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame scored the only touchdown of a hard and closely fought game to end the longest winning streak in football. The Heisman Award went to Texas A&M's All-America halfback, Johnny Crow. A pro career looms in 58 for the #1 college star of 57. Football had its upsets and its heroes, and also the unexpected, like this play in Canada's Grey Cup Classic. The Winnipeg pass was intercepted by a Hamilton player. Touchdown for sure. Oops! A fan tripped him. What a rhubarb. Basketball takes the center of the sports spotlight. The Invitational Holiday Festival at Madison Square Garden pits some of the country's crack teams. St. John's in white faces Brigham Young in blue. Two fast-paced, closely matched quintets. Action aplenty. Oops, wrong kind of action, but no harm done and the play goes on. With the team separated by 1 point at halftime, the Utah 5, the Cougars, turn on the heat. High-scoring Tom Stanky scores 2 of his 30 points for the Cougars. But St. John's Redmen are never out of contention, dangerous till the final bell. It makes for a good game all the way. Here's some neat play under the basket. With a comfortable lead, the Cougars drive the last nail to secure the game, 89-75. Kezar Stadium is jammed with 60,000 fans to see one of pro football's top thrills of the year. The San Francisco 49ers, with Y.A. Tittle passing, get the jump on the Detroit Lions. Owens snags it for the touchdown. And the 49ers look like a surefire bet to clinch the Western title of the National League. Second quarter, Y.A. Tittle clicks again. His pass to Wilson puts the ball on the Detroit 7. And then Tittle's magic arm uncorks another bullseye. Pitching into the end zone to Wilson. And San Francisco has a 20-7 halftime lead. As the second half opens, the 49ers look as though they'll run the Lions right out of Kezar Stadium. Hugh McElhenney breaks away and goes careening through the Detroit team. "70 yards before he's forced out of bounds. The 49ers settle for a field goal, and they lead Detroit 27-7. Seems like a comfortable margin. But suddenly the Lions start to roar and claw back. Tobin Rote connects with Junker for 11. And seconds later, he fires to Cassidy for 14. Tom Tracy worms his way through center for a touchdown. As soon as the Lions get the ball again, Tracy bursts up the middle and then ducks and dodges tacklers all the way. 59 yards to pay dirt. And now the 49ers lead is down to 6 points. The Lions are really roaring now. Rote hits Junker with a pass, and he barrels along to the San Francisco 15. The fourth quarter opens with Tracy wheeling around right into the 5. And then Gedman scores to give Detroit the victory. Records in track and field were set in the NCAAs at Austin, Texas. A new collegiate mark in the broad jump, 26 feet 7 inches for George Bell of Indiana. A world record fell in the 880 when Don Bowden of California headed for the tape, well ahead of the favored Ron Delaney of Villanova. .147 2/10 seconds for the new champ. And still another world's mark set by Bob Kotowski of Occidental College in the pole vault. Higher and higher. Hardware hats on parade. For 41 years, employees of a San Francisco hardware store have been blossoming forth in the spring with bizarre bonnets made from products they sell in the store. Strictly from stock, strictly for laughs. Mops, work gloves, brushes, What a potpourri of merry millinery. The drinks are on me could be the name of these silly chapeaux, ideal for the cocktail hour. Quite chic, so down the hatch. You name it and you can wear it. Strictly for the birds, but not cheap. A good salesman could mop up selling them. Two juniors at the College of the Pacific seesaw their way to a new world's record. Okay, fellas, why? As Steve Henry and Mike Resso explain it, they're out to beat a mark of 100 hours established on the campus here 6 years ago. It's spring, and besides, teeter-tottering is better than swallowing goldfish. The latter was all down. This has both ups and downs. Meals are on schedule. There's even time for a bit of study. But the bystanders don't insist on it. They prefer to watch the boys eating or sleeping as a new record is made. Yes, they made it, but it was a close shave. A dirt track outside Paris serves as a proving ground for a melange of mad motorized madcaps. What it proves is beyond me, but what a wonderful time they're having. No lights, no cops, just carte blanche to do everything you and I have always wanted to do in a Sunday traffic jam. How often have you had to thread a needle to get home before midnight? If you think you're good at it, regardez these Frenchies. Woo la la! Somebody in your way? Hit 'em! Push him out of the way, that's the ticket. Only here, you'd never get one. Ticket, I mean. Introducing that freewheeling whiz of the hamburger circus, Max the Chimp. The hitchhiker is brother Moritz. Between them, the two troopers of the Shax family roll them in the aisles in their Berlin debut. Roll 'em is right, and this time it's a rock and roll 'em. Look at that Max, will you? One hand yet. I'm the champ, says Max the Chimp. Says Moritz, nah, you're just a chump. Come with us to the Culinary Art Show in Chicago for a look at what the guys in the tall starched hats cook up when there's an occasion in the offing. Everything you see is edible, except, of course, the furniture and people. But beyond that, don't let appearances deceive you. See what we mean? Now, these comic tipplers are really lobsters. A confusing but kind of amusing theme and variations sponsored by the Cooks and Pastry Cooks Union to show their skill. You may not know what each decoration conceals, but you can bet it's delicious. Oh, just one little taste.